What is up, guys? Bringing you on another episode of Backyard Sport Takes. And once again, Brady was the headline for this week. He goes on Howard Stern. I think it was early Wednesday. Might have been Thursday. I think I listened to it Thursday. I think he went on Wednesday morning. And he talked a little bit about what kind of went on with his whole journey. And Howard even made a comment saying that, well, we've been trying to get you on the radio station for a good while, but he kind of felt like the Patriots were always blocking it and they never let him kind of come on. But it finally comes on. And something that really caught my attention was that Brady said he knew he was leaving last year. So the marriage was over while he was winning a Super Bowl. Coming off of a Super Bowl, winning that Super Bowl against the Rams, he knew he was gone. He sold his house in the offseason. Everybody was reporting it, but they were saying, oh, it doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. Athletes sell their house all the time. It doesn't mean anything. But it did. It 100% knew it meant something. He knew that he was gone. And if you notice, when he did leave, he left after DeAndre Hopkins got shipped out to the Cardinals for what he got shipped out for. And he left after Stephon Diggs went to the Bills for a first rounder. And he was still kind of waiting out. He was still waiting on hope. It was like a marriage just coming to an end. That's all it was. And coming off of that times are good, that Super Bowl win, and Brady was just holding out for those Patriots to make that move. It was like that wife that she just wants her husband to change. She's waiting out, giving him hope, and hoping that he's going to change. And he never does. He doesn't change. And so she's out. She left. And she's on to bigger and better things. And it just proves my point that Brady in this divorce wants to win now. He doesn't want to win later on down the road. He wants to win the divorce now. He knew he was gone. So while he's playing in this season, he knows I'm gone. All those frustrating times that we saw on the camera, on air, he was already thinking, I'm gone. I'm out of here. I don't want to be here anymore whatsoever. This isn't for me anymore. And he was shopping around. In his head, he's shopping around. You know the feeling. You go and you're like, well, I want to leave, but where do I go? Where do I go? So he starts looking around. And I think the reason that he didn't go to the Chargers is he saw the type of backlash that Phillip Rivers got this year. The spotlight was all on him because there's so much talent around there. But you didn't see that with Jameis, and you didn't see that with the Bucks. There's kind of no expectation there. Well, now there's going to be a big expectation, but it's not as big of an expectation because the talent on both sides of the ball. And also, obviously, he wanted to work with Bruce Arians. He wanted to work with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. I understand that. But he knew he was leaving beginning of the season. He knew he was leaving middle of the season. He knew he was leaving the end of the season. He was just hoping and hoping and hoping that the Patriots would make him stay. He wanted to stay, but he wanted the Patriots to make him stay. He in a way, didn't want to divorce Belichick, but he was ready to. He was ready to do it if they didn't take the necessary steps to keep him there, and they didn't. They didn't do it. They didn't keep him there, and now they have to live with that decision, and they're just moving on. That's what the Patriots do. They're going to move on, and Belichick's going to try to win with Stidham, and we'll see what happens next year. We'll see what they do. Some more quarterback talk. The Bears came out and said that it is a QB battle between Trubisky and Foles. I told you. Why go out and get Foles as a backup? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It makes zero sense to do that. Foles was brought there to take Trubisky's spot. Matt Nagy is tired of dealing with this quarterback. He's tired of it. Now, the GM can't admit he's wrong. The GM drafted him at 2 overall in the same draft that Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes went at 10 and 15, respectively. And I get that. He doesn't want to admit he's wrong. But he is. And he's got to move off. And Nagy's saying, dude, I can win with other quarterbacks. I can't win with him. Oh, but you won 10 games a year ago. Yeah, did you see him in that Philadelphia game? I was crippled. I was literally crippled. Did you see the guy who beat me? Nick Foles. That's the quarterback who beat him 2 years ago. He knows he can win with Foles. He knows he can. And like I said, when teams bring in a big name backup quarterback and they pay him decent money, don't be surprised if that QB gets to play next year. Don't be surprised if Case Keenum takes some first string snaps in 2020. Now, whether that might be a Baker injury or they're trying to move off of Baker, but Kevin Stefanski knows he can win with Case Keenum. He knows he can. He did it 2 years ago when they had the Minnesota Miracle, and then they lost to the Eagles. Don't be surprised if Marcus Mariota takes some first string snaps in 2020. John Gruden does not like Derek Carr. He doesn't want to coach Derek Carr. He didn't draft Derek Carr, but Mike Mayock did draft Derek Carr, and Derek Carr did win. He had a 10-win season, 3-4 years ago, and then he broke his back, lost to the Texans in the first round. But I don't think John Gruden likes Derek Carr. I think he likes Josh Jacobs. I think he likes a lot of those rookies that he drafted last year. He likes Hunter Renfrow. For the most part, he liked Antonio Brown until Antonio had to leave. But I don't think he thinks Derek Carr is the guy for him. And I really do think, and I really believe that Cam Newton for the Raiders could have worked. I think he just feels like a Gruden guy. He's got that polarizing, he at least wants to have that polarizing personality and wants to be in the fashion, kind of like the Russell Westbrook of the NFL. And it's kind of interesting because I'm not a big fan of Russell Westbrook, but I've defended Cam Newton time and time again. I got a text immediately after the Super Bowl loss to the Broncos, 3-4 years ago. I got a text from somebody, and they said, "You see what Cam did?" And he just didn't answer anything at the podium, kind of bashing him. And I stood up for him at the time, and I put out his quote: "You show me a good loser, I'll show you a loser." And it's that me standing up for him is kind of biting me in the ass, because if you look at a lot of the teams that are looking for quarterbacks, or they're trying to win games and put people in their seats, they're not coming after Cam. Now, whether that is Cam wants too much money, Cam wants to be a starter right away, Cam doesn't want to play in a backup role, we don't know the logistics of that, but there's almost no market for Cam Newton. I think Cam Newton could have worked perfectly for the Bears, but they went and got Foles a year, or about 2 weeks early. I think he could have worked for the Raiders, but they went and got Marcus Mariota 2 weeks early. So, I mean, that's where we're at. And I think what's really hurting Cam, and then I have heard this, is this whole coronavirus going on, and Cam can't get a physical by the team doctor of the teams that want to take a look at him. So that's really hurting Cam's chances and Cam's market for the 2020 season. But, something interesting happened, and I didn't really realize it till somebody brought it to my attention, is Ron Rivera went out and traded for Kyle Allen. He didn't trade for Cam Newton. So he went out and took the guy that he won games with when Cam Newton got hurt last year, and then eventually lost his job. But because he knows Kyle Allen can come in, fight for a starting job, and then if it doesn't work out, he knows he can play in that backup role, and he's ready to go when his number is called. I don't think he thinks Cam can do that. And I don't think a lot of people think Cam can do that. And I'm not sure Cam can. We've never seen Cam take a backseat to anybody but Tim Tebow his freshman year. Then he got in trouble, transferred to Blinn College, won a JUCO national championship, transferred to Auburn, won a national championship at the Division I level, #1 pick overall. So after that, sitting behind Tebow, who's arguably top 3 QBs of all time in college football, it's tough to see Cam in a backup role, and it's tough to tell a guy like that to play in a backup role. Same thing with Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston lost 3 games his whole college career. No. He lost 1 game his whole college career. He lost to Marcus Mariota in the first semifinal ever for the college football playoff. He won a national championship the year before, Heisman year before, and then was a #1 pick. he's never been a backup. I think he started right away for the Bucks, if I can remember correctly, but he's never been a backup guy. So both those guys are going to have to either make adjustments to their careers, or they're going to have to prove to somebody that they're still a starting quarterback in this league. It just interesting to me that Ron Rivera went after Kyle Allen and not Cam Newton. But I think that's exactly why. He knows Kyle Allen can come in, fight for a starting job, push Dwayne Haskins, because that's the only real knock on Dwayne Haskins. It's not talent, it's just maturity, and it's his willingness to go out and compete and work hard. They say he's just not a hard worker. Um, but lately, he's been trying to prove it to Ron Rivera, and he's been in the weight room, first guy in, last guy to leave. He's been on that kind of mentality. So Kyle Allen's going to come in and light a fire under him and hopefully get him going. But I think for Cam, if you're not getting the market that you think you're going to get, and you're going to take a backup role, I think a backup role could work for Cam, but he's going to have to be in a situation to where he's behind a seasoned veteran or a top tier quarterback. I could see Cam Newton. He's going to okay. Let me explain that a little bit better. He's got to respect the guy he's backing up. He has to 100% respect the guy he's backing up. And the perfect situation right now, I think, for Cam Newton could be the New Orleans Saints. You go and you respect Sean Payton very much. You played against him your whole career in the NFL because you've been in the same division. You respect Drew Brees because of his body of work and the level of quarterback play that he does have. And you're waiting your turn. You know Drew Brees can get hurt. You're just working your ass off. You're not there to take that job or compete for that job. But look at Teddy Bridgewater. Sign a 1-year deal. Teddy Bridgewater went in, signs a 2-3-year deal, is there a couple years, rejuvenates his career, and then goes and takes Cam's spot. So I could really see Cam working in that New Orleans system. He's going to be well respected, and we know Cam's out for blood. Cam posted that video, and he's saying they're sleeping on me or they're hating on me. They're doing something. And for Cam, if say Drew Brees does get hurt and he does get some playing time, he's going to get to play his old team, and he's going to get some payback. And I really think it could work with the Saints. I think the Saints right now, if the Chargers aren't going to go after him and go sign him, I think the Saints is the perfect fit for him if he's going to be a backup. Another team that was kind of been thrown out there and could make sense, but I'll tell you why it doesn't completely make sense, would be the Eagles. Because so you take a look at the Eagles. The Eagles know that Carson Wentz at some point in the season is going to have an injury, whether that's an injury where he can't finish the game, whether that's an injury where he's out the rest of the season, that's an injury where he's got to be sidelined for a snap, a drive, a quarter, whatever it is. Carson Wentz is going to get some kind of injury this year. That's just, if you're just going to look at it historically, he's had an injury every year he's been in the league except for his first year. And the Eagles have shown that if you have the right backup, you can still win somewhat in their system via Nick Foles winning that Super Bowl for them. But here's the only problem. I have with Cam Newton going to the Eagles is Nick Foles and Cam Newton are different players. Nick Foles knew his role. Nick Foles was there to almost mentor Carson and push him a little bit, but more he was there for emergency, a no shit moment. Well, a no shit moment happened. Carson Wentz tears his ACL against the Rams, finishes the game, but he can't finish the season. Some say he was on pace for an MVP season. Well, he never got there. And Nick Foles goes and wins the Super Bowl, gets a statue put out in front of the Eagles, the Lincoln Field, the Eagles Stadium, and comes back for another year. Carson Wentz once again gets hurt in the last, I think they had 1 or 2 games left. Nick Foles comes in, beats the Texans. Yeah, I think it was 1 game. Nick Foles comes in, beats the Texans, goes in, beats the Bears, and then loses a close game to the Saints. If you're the Eagles and you can tame Cam Newton, here's the thing. You got to be able to tame Cam Newton and keep him on the low, because there was some talk during the season that it's not Carson's team. This was Nick Foles' team. Nick Foles won them that Super Bowl. Carson didn't win them that Super Bowl. Whether there was any validity to that, I don't know. I wasn't in the locker room. That's just the reports that were coming out. So if you bring in Cam, that could maybe stir up a little bit more trouble. That's the only reason I don't think it would 100% work. I couldn't see him going to the uh, I couldn't see him going to the Chiefs, because somebody who's top tier would be Patrick Mahomes. I don't see that really working. I could see him going to the Seahawks if they needed a backup, because obviously, how do you not respect a Russell Wilson? I feel like Pete Carroll and Cam Newton would 100% get along. Pete Carroll's that raha guy, go out there and he's the players coach, and he's all over the field and chewing his gum, chewing his gum the whole time, and all over the field jumping up at the players. And that's Cam. That's who Cam is. He likes to showboat when he does score, and he'll let you know. He'll let you know if he gets to you. So a kind of different kind of segment that I kind of wanted to go into is just kind of some current events, some stuff, just a whole realm of the sports world, and even maybe even a little bit of life. I think I have something in here about non-sports, but just kind of not having to be on a certain topic. First thing is UFC 249 being called off. That sucks. Dana White originally said that we're gonna have Tony Ferguson and Justin Gaethje. Amazing fight. We were gonna have it in somewhere in California. Unfortunately, the governor of California asked the CEO and a lot of the execs at Disney to talk to Dana White to kind of talk him down and talk him out of it. Dana said the island is still on, that he is in the process of buying an island to host fights. And if that's going to work, I don't know. It's interesting. Dana White has always been the guy that's willing to kind of thread the needle on what he's doing and kind of push the limits of the way they do things. And so the fact that Dana White wants to be the only sport going on, I mean, could you blame him? He's Dana White, and a lot of times he has a 79, I believe, fight contract with Disney. No, 49 fight contract with Disney, and he has to fulfill that, and he felt like he needed to fulfill it, and trying to get this fight in. And the fact that Disney actually came to him. Well, okay, let me explain a little bit better. Disney owns ESPN. ESPN owns UFC. Dana White is the CEO of the UFC. So in a sense, Dana White, no, not in a sense, actually, Dana White works for Disney, who owns ESPN. And so Dana is actually being told by Disney to, slow your roll. You want to get your fights in. I understand that you got a contract to oblige to us. I get that. But, slow your roll a little bit. We're going to get this figured out. He was also in the news early in the week, a little late of last week. He was in a sex tape extortion. It was really, really weird. Some guy, I guess, Dana White was paying this girl to come sleep with him. The fact that Dana White needs to pay girls to go sleep with him is kind of ridiculous to me. I don't know how that dude doesn't get any girl he wants. Super filthy fucking rich. But anyway, so he was paying this apparently super hot girl, I didn't even see her, super hot girl to come sleep with him. Her boyfriend somehow got a recording of this sexual encounters going on, and he actually tried to extort him. Dana White got the FBI involved, and then apparently Dana broke the no talking agreement. I don't know what that shit's called, but he apparently he broke that. And I just thought that was kind of funny. Dana White, one of the most powerful one of the most powerful men in the UFC, probably the most powerful man in the UFC, got extorted for a sex tape scandal. That's kind of funny. They got the NFL owners and the GMs. They're kind of worried about the virtual draft. They're going to have to. I don't know if they're actually using Zoom or what necessarily they're using, but they're worried about it being hacked, and everybody's looking at the Patriots right about now. I could see a team who gets in trouble for hacking during the draft seriously have to sit out a year if it were to come to that. I don't think it will. I think it would be hacked by a third party who just wants to create chaos. But it's interesting, and I know a lot of the owners and GMs are complaining about this draft, and in my mind, it's almost like if this is your biggest worry, what the fuck are we complaining about? Like, just shut up and take it. Like, this is what we're getting. For the fans, this is going to be the most watched draft. I mean, I wouldn't know the numbers. I don't even know if they give out the numbers. This is going to be the most watched draft ever because we don't have any other sports to watch. I don't know how they don't understand that we as fans need this, so we are going to watch this. We might watch the 6th, 7th round just because we need sports in our life. It gives us more to talk about. The NFL has been so lucky that this did not happen during their season. They have benefited from it the most. I don't understand the argument of just trying to postpone the draft. I don't understand why they want to try and do that. That doesn't make any sense. This is going to be the most watched draft ever. Now, I could be wrong. I could be wrong in saying that nobody's going to watch it because nobody gives a shit because this whole coronavirus is going on. But I know I'm going to watch it. I'm going to probably go watch all the way up to like the 5th, 6th round. And I usually don't even watch like past the 3rd, maybe the 4th. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm way off on this one, but I just feel like it's going to be the most watched draft. How could it not be? So we got the Jordan Bulls documentary releasing early. That is pretty interesting. I was talking to somebody about it. I said, they're gonna release it earlier. They're talking about it. They should. I'd be real smart too because everybody's home, right? I think this documentary coming out, at least until LeBron retires, I think this documentary coming out is gonna cement the MJ over LeBron for a good while. Because a lot of people who, I didn't grow up watching Michael Jordan. I've watched a lot of film on him, and I've heard what other people say, and I've heard a lot of good arguments for it. But they're gonna get to see Michael put up on a pedestal. Obviously, I don't know what's in the documentary. I could be way off. They could be showing the dark side of Michael Jordan, but I think they're gonna put Michael on this pedestal, and everybody's gonna be like, "Well, yeah, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. Cool, we're good with that." I think it's just gonna cement LeBron over Jordan, at least until Jordan over LeBron, at least until LeBron retires, for sure. You know what they say, they don't enjoy your greatness until you're gone. Same thing happened with Kobe. I get that, but at least until LeBron retires, which by his standing is going to be for another 3-4 years, I think MJ will be over LeBron for a good while, just because of this documentary. Speaking of documentaries, Tiger King. If you haven't watched this, you're living under a rock, or you're an essential worker and you're working like 1,000 hours a week. Because this thing is like a train wreck. It's like that Honey Boo Boo. Remember when we used to watch Honey Boo Boo? I mean, probably not everybody watched that, but you know who Honey Boo Boo is. It's a train wreck. It's awful, but you can't take your eyes off of it. Man, this thing is the bee's knees of documentaries. This thing is so interesting. They're actually going to release another, or if you haven't seen it, it's about a Oklahoma gay tiger zookeeper who is just totally out there, and it's a murder mystery. It's got some comedy in it, some wackos. I mean, I don't want to ruin it for you if you haven't seen it, but the most normal person is a girl with a missing arm and some dude without any legs. I mean, it is nuts, some of the people in this. And but of course, Oklahoma, it has to do with Florida too. But of course, it's pretty interesting. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Tiger King on Netflix. But they're coming out with an extra episode, apparently, according to Jeff Lowe, one of the other characters in it. I just think it is exactly what we need in this quarantine. And apparently, they dropped it early. They weren't supposed to release it when they released it, and they dropped it early because of this whole quarantine going on. Same thing with the Jordan Bulls documentary. I know Disney released a movie called Onward. That wasn't supposed to be released for a good while, but because of quarantine, everybody's home. They dropped a lot of stuff early. I did see this week that Tua is maybe falling in the draft, that the Dolphins aren't 100% on board with the whole Tua thing. And I think that's what is that? Best case scenario? Best case scenario for Tua falling in the draft? I mean, if he ends up with the Chargers, forget it. Forget it. I mean, they're going to be the second best team in that division just because the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes are unbelievable. But forget it. We're not even going to talk about Joe Burrow. If Tua goes to the Dolphins, I'm sorry. If Tua goes to the Chargers, you can pretty much write off Rookie of the Year. He got it. He got it in the bag. I mean, I think I would assume so with all those athletes and all that talent that they have. I don't see how he couldn't be Rookie of the Year. I don't see how Joe Burrow could be the Rookie of the Year over him. Let me put it that way. Could there be a better offensive Rookie of the Year? Probably. I mean, we all thought for sure Kyler Murray was getting Rookie of the Year, and they gave it to Josh Jacobs. I mean, sometimes there could be J.K. Dobbins. It could be a bunch of plethora of these great wide receivers. It could be Jerry Jeudy. It could be CeeDee Lamb. Could be Ruggs. I mean, but voting wise, if Tua goes to the Chargers, no, I'm not saying if he goes to the Dolphins. If Tua goes to the Chargers and he falls in the draft, I don't think Burrow has a chance to surpass Tua. I mean, the talent difference between the Chargers and the Bengals is astronomically wide margin. Huge. I just don't think there's any way that Tua, barring health, I don't think there's any way Tua fails talent-wise. I can't see it. I can't see it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just so out there about Tua that, he just gives me a hard on, but I can't see it. I can't see it not working out if he goes to the Chargers. If he goes to the Chargers. So some news for the podcast. I am going to try and put this video up on YouTube, Backyard Sport Takes on YouTube. Be looking out for that. If you want to share it on YouTube, send it out. If you want to just watch me screaming into a mic about Tua Tagovailoa. And I actually learned this week, I've been saying it wrong. It's Tagovailoa. I mean, I've been saying Tagovailoa. It's Tagovailoa. I think he's that's Hawaiian, Samoan, something like that. Tagovailoa. If anybody asks, I've been saying it wrong for a while. And I'm also going to be trying to experiment with some things and doing some Zoom podcasts and trying to get some people on that I know want to come on and kind of small quibble with me, and they want to go against some of the opinions I have, and I'm all for it. If you guys have any opinion that you don't agree with, or you do agree with, and you want to let me know, certain topic, drop a comment on YouTube, hit my DM on Twitter, 13nickgut, 13nickgut. If you don't agree with anything, you do agree with anything. You want to hear me something out. You want to hear me talk about something that I haven't really touched on, or you want to hear my opinion on a certain topic that just became the top of the food chain in the sports world. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on YouTube. I'll be looking at all of them, trying to get my opinions out there to you guys, especially if you guys want to hear. If you guys reach out about something that you guys want to hear, and let me know if you guys liked my last podcast with my good friend Tristan, kind of dialogue based, or if you like these rants. I know these are a little bit shorter. It gives you a little bit more availability to watch it. Some of those are a little longer. I get it, but there's some hot knowledge in there. So yeah, if you guys got anything from me, you guys know where to find me. I'll talk to you guys later. You guys can catch me on here sometime next week. Talk to you guys later. Peace.